my preschool and kindergarten bucket planners. I've been working on these for years, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to finally have them up on the website. These are in downloadable PDF format, so you can use them with multiple children, and you can customize them to best meet your needs. You can duplicate pages, you can write on them, you can delete some of these pages, do whatever it takes to make it be a good fit for your family. Now, what it includes are the bucket pages, which is a place for you to jot down some of your favorite resources in each of these key areas. It provides planning pages to schedule out your month or your weeks or your days, whatever you choose to do. And it also includes a place to jot down some of your favorite memories. So you'll have a keepsake at the end of the year of all the things you've done together and all the special memories you've shared. Now, it also includes a tutorial where I will take you page by page, give you more ideas, give you, share some of my biggest mistakes along the way, and then just give you the support you need so that you can create a plan that best works for you and your family. Ultimately, what I want to share through it all is what preschool is, what it should be, what it could be, but also what it does not have to be. I think there's a lot of pressure out there right now on this thing we call preschool. And that's why I created this to begin with. My motivation behind it all was seeing my son at 3 years old, loving life and playing and just enjoying time with him. I was working part-time as an educational consultant, so I had this time that I could just spend with him day in and day out. And instead of enjoying it fully, I felt so much pressure to put him in preschool. It was around that time that friends and family started asking me, when is he going to start preschool? When are you going to put him in preschool? Have you started thinking about this? And there was this pressure to make sure he knew his alphabet, to make sure he knew his numbers, to make sure he was going to be reading by a certain time. And I remember feeling it from every angle and actually going in to a nearby preschool to check everything out. And so I walk in, right, and they have these colorful rugs and these bulletin boards and little bitty chairs and school supplies and games and puzzles. And I'm standing there just staring at everything, thinking about how inadequate I am. I walked out feeling like I was doing a huge disservice to my son for not putting him in preschool. And I felt so much pressure to catch him up because I didn't want him to fall behind. And so I bought all this homeschool curriculum. I didn't know it was homeschool at the time, it was workbooks and things like that. And I got started on my days off working through academics. It was miserable. It was a miserable experience. He wasn't ready yet for any of it. He wanted to play. He wanted to be out digging in mud. And I wished more than anything that someone had told me back then that I didn't have to focus on academics so early. I wish somebody would have told me just to relax and enjoy those precious years. After my son kind of went through, fast forward 9 years, if you will, I had 2 daughters that came along. One was on the opposite end of learning. She wanted to learn everything early on, and then I have one that kind of fell in the middle. I got to finally see that bigger picture of what education looked like. I got to study educational philosophies and pedagogy and all this other stuff that I got to see, the studies behind preschool. And what I found time and time again was that any preschools that focused heavily on academics ultimately did a disservice to children down the line. Most children, maybe not all. And so what we saw, and what these studies were showing was that they made greater gains initially in academics, but they leveled off between 1st and 3rd grade. And then from that point forward, they saw that a lot of these children struggled socially and cognitively because what was missing in these preschools was the opportunity for the children to be children, to play, to create, to engage in imaginative play. They also found that preschools that were focused on play, or in countries where formal schooling is not started until the age of 6 or 7 years old, those children ultimately fared better. I had to take that back, right? And look at all of that and digest it and say, okay, then what does that look like for me? Because as a former public school educator, that pressure kind of lingered with me through the years. And I had to learn to let go of certain things. And I had to learn to let go of this idea that all that mattered was reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, those things are important, but what I found was that children have this developmental window that opens somewhere between about 5 years of age and 7. And if we just wait for that window to open, learning takes place so much more quickly, and it's so much more enjoyable than trying to drill all of those concepts early on at the ages of 2, 3, or 4. Now, if your child's ready early on, then more power to you, but a lot of children just need to play. And so I had to look back and think, what is important at the end of the day? What do our children truly need to know before they start formal schooling so that they'll be ready for it all? And what I found over and over again is that the walks, the talks, the books that we shared were just as important, if not more important, to my child's overall development than just those workbooks on reading, writing, and math. I created 8 buckets that you'll find in this planning system that speak to the whole child. Children are whole persons that we want to develop socially, emotionally, cognitively, spiritually. And so the buckets that I've included here are discipleship. Do our children know that Jesus loves them? Do they know that there's a creator that created everything around them? Do they know how to pray and just to rest in his presence? Do they know things about social studies, like what a community is, what family is, and why it's important? Do they understand science and just not just reading about it in a textbook, but getting out in nature, spending time looking at rocks, looking at mushrooms or bugs or clouds or whatever is out there. We look at creative expression. Our children are made in the image of God, and they are born with this amazing ability to create. And so creative expression is a bucket that you can fill with ideas, with just different handicrafts and projects that children can do that are meaningful. Life skills. You know, being able to dress themselves, bathe, and just typical life skills, organization. Do they understand how to be good stewards of their things? Health and wellness. Those things are important too. Do they eat nutritious snacks? Do they sleep well? Do they exercise? And so we're looking at this whole person of a child. We want to make sure that we're giving equal value to all the other things that are important. When I just spent time with my son reading books on the couch, I wish someone had told me that is valuable. That is important as well. And so I hope to convey that message here. I hope to simplify the process for you, not to give you more stuff to do, but to give you the inspiration to be able to enjoy your child's childhood as much as possible. There's so much more than reading, writing, and math. And so in here, I'm going to give you ideas. I'm going to share with you specific ideas for each of these buckets that you can draw from and choose what works best for you. So as an example, here's discipleship. You'll see the key idea here is I love God and others. And so I've listed underneath that some ideas of what that could look like, some things that you can do together, memories that you can create together, but I've also included a place here for resources. So as you're out there on social media or you're looking through different curricula or booklets or books, you'll be able to jot down the ones that you feel would best serve the purposes of your homeschool. And so you can jot them down here and just have this place to dump all your ideas. I don't know about you, but as I was, introduced to social media and all these ideas out there, I started getting more overwhelmed because I was trying to do all the things at the same time. And I found that the more I tried to do, the more frustrated I got, the more stressed I got, and the more I missed. I missed being in the moment. I missed being present. I started feeling like I had to check off all the boxes or I wasn't doing enough and I couldn't just let learning naturally unfold. And so this was such a helpful tool to me to say, okay, that's a great idea, but I'm gonna put it in this bucket and I'll get back to it another time. I have plenty of time to do these things. I don't have to do them all right this minute. And so that's what this bucket system is about, is putting things into your buckets that help you create your vision and keep you on track for what your homeschool needs to look like, not somebody else's, but then also giving you those ideas so that when it is time to plan and bring it all together, it works well. This is another one, beginning academics. I include reading, writing, and math here. It's not a whole lot that they have to know early on to create a strong foundation in those areas. We have social studies, like I mentioned, science, the creative expression, life skills, health and physical education. And then I also included a blank page here. So if you want to include a different bucket that's important to you and your family, you can do so, or you can change out my ideas here, or you can just create as many as you want, or as little as you want, or as few as you want. I also include here some extra buckets. And so let's say reading books is what's important to you, and you want to find more books on science or social studies or discipleship. I wanted to include a place for you to record those titles and have them all together here. You can organize them by topic. You can also write down here if you already own the book, because it's something you've purchased or you've already borrowed it from the library or a friend. And then you can also record when you read the book together. Now this at the end of the year is a keepsake. So it just kind of has a list of all the books that you have read together and shared together. There's also a place to jot down your games, preschool games or activities. You have poetry, songs, and finger plays. Handicrafts, sensory activities. So I already have a video on sensory bins. I'll be including videos on here with just different resources that you can pick and choose ones that you like, and then hopefully to inspire new ideas that you come up with as well. Here's one for field trips, different exercises, sports, and games. I also have this page here for holidays and special events, and so it's about creating those traditions around those holidays or those seasons that are important to you and having a place to record them so that they're at the forefront of your memory and work their way into the days. My goal is to help you to focus on what matters most. And I feel like so much of that can get lost in things that we feel like we have to do. This allows you to choose the plan or to create the plan that works for you so that then you can choose the pieces that work for you and not the other way around. After that, you have your planning sheet. So once you have all these ideas and the things that you really want to do, now it's time to funnel that into a plan that works, the simple plan. I created a monthly checklist that you can just push them all into the specific buckets. And then from there, you can just check it off as you go. When you have an easy morning, hey, let's pick out some of the books that we have listed here. Let's work on that little science experiment. Let's go for a walk, at the park. Let's do these things together and keep track of what we've done, and so that we ultimately don't go to the end and realize that we missed those opportunities. There's also a checklist for the week if you choose to do a weekly plan instead. Oh, there's the week. It's all together. I did include a schedule. Now, a schedule will probably be more valuable if you have one child. If this is your first child, then you may find it helpful to just kind of plug in a little schedule for your child. I also have an agenda, just in case, an agenda page. But if this is your second, third, fourth, onward child, then that child will most likely fit into the schedule of the older children. And so I have found that the checklist version works a lot better to make sure we're still being intentional with our little ones, but not in such a stressed out way that we don't enjoy that time we have with them. The planner also includes materials tables that you can just jot down your materials for each week so you have it all in one place. And at the end, it includes some special memory pages. I love this. This is where you'll just write down your favorite memories, the things that you want to remember most at the end of the year. Now in here, I've also included my kindergarten bucket planner. And so if you choose to do kindergarten at home, you'll also have all of the key objectives they'll need to prepare them for first grade, wherever that may be after that point. At home or out. I include specific skills like in pre-reading. It'll include beginning reading. Here's another one, pre-reading. You can look at the checklist here. I learn the alphabet. And so you'll see I can identify capital letters, and here you would just circle in the letters that they've already learned. Then the lowercase ones are here, and so it's a checklist that you can keep track of their progress. You will find that just through conversations with your child or their natural curiosity, they're gonna know so much more here than you probably will expect. The learning happens constantly. And I think that's another part of this planner itself, is recognizing that learning doesn't have to be a workbook or a printable or a specific curriculum. It can happen naturally many times. It can happen organically. And I want you to see that those things count too. And so if all you did was take this planner, kind of glance through it all, and then put it away and just came back to it every quarter, I want you to see that you're going to look through these indicators and find that just by sharing life with your child, you're going to be able to check off a lot of those boxes and see their progress and growth and see how meaningful that learning is, because it matters. It matters. All of those interactions matter. It's in here to keep track of it if you choose to do that. But trust in the process ultimately. But here's the kindergarten one. Like I said, you have math in here, you have language arts, you can keep track of their progress, and then you supplement as needed. If they have certain letters that they're struggling with, then you can find a resource or create one easily to teach those specific skills. So I hope that's helpful. I really wanted this to be a tool, something that helps you simplify your homeschool in order to focus on what matters most. And that's the heart behind Nurturing Connections Homeschool. If this was helpful, I would love for you to check it out. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, so please jot them down in the comments below. And if there's any other resource that I can create to help you out with that, I'd love to hear that as well. So let me know.